Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jai Guru Premanandi, Hari Bol. It's a bit heavy. Thank you. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 20, first verse in chapter 20, text 1. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shonaka Uvacha Mahim Pratishtam Adhyasya Saute Svayam Bhuvo Manuhu Kanyanva Tishtadvarani Margaya Varajanmanam. Sornaka Uvacha Mahing Pratishtam Adhyasya Sote Svayam Bhuvo Manuhu Kanyanva Tishtadvarani Margaya Varajanmanam. Shonaka Uvacha Mahing Pratishtam Adhyasya Sote svayam bhuvo manuhu kanyan vatishtadvarani margaya janmanam. Mahim pratishta madyasya Smute Swayambhuvo Mano Shonaka Uvacha. Shonaka Uvacha. Shonaka said, Mahim, the earth, Pratishtham, situated, Adhyasya, having secured, Sote, O Sutta Goswami, Svayambhuva, Svayambhuva, Manu, Manu, Kani, what? Anvatishtat, performed, Dvarani, ways, Margaya, to get out, Avara, later, Janmanam, of those to be born. Translation. Sri Sonaka inquired, O Sutta Goswami, after the earth was again situated in its orbit, what did Svayambhuva Manu do to show the path of liberation to persons who were to take birth later on? Please repeat. Sri Sonaka inquired, O Sutta Goswami, after the earth was again situated in its orbit, what did Svayambhuva Manu do to show the path of liberation to persons who were to take birth later on? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The appearance of the Lord as the first boar incarnation occurred during the time of Svayambhuva Manu, whereas the present age is in the period of Vaivasvata Manu. Each Manu's period lasts 72 times the cycle of 4 ages, and one cycle of ages equals 4,320,000 solar years. Thus, 4,320,000 times 72 solar years is the reign of one Manu. In each Manu's period, there are many changes in many ways, and there are 14 Manus within one day of Brahma. It is understood here that Manu creates scriptural regulations for the salvation of the conditioned souls who come to the material world for material enjoyment. The Lord is so kind that any soul who wants to enjoy in this material world is given full facility for enjoyment, and at the same time he is shown the path of salvation. Shonaka Rishi, therefore, inquired from Sutta Goswami, what did Svayambhuva Manu do after the reinstatement of the earth in its orbital situation? Om Agyana Timirandasya Ganangana Shalakaya Chakshuan Militamina Tasmaya Shri Gurave Namaha. So the Manu's reign is incredibly long, and for us completely impossible to imagine so much time. And time is 72 solar years. It's unimaginable. And as Prabhupada says, there are many changes in many ways during each of the Manus. Because if you think, that's such a long history and so much goes on the whole time, within Bhumandala, everything's moving and changing, and they witness so much, but their purpose is to help the fallen souls. And this is the wonderful attribute of those who are devotees of the Lord, because these Manus are very saintly devotees of the Lord, and they have as their service, they have this business of assisting the souls to come by writing down various rules for a moral and godly life and for salvation. So this is their mercy, and this is the Lord's mercy as well, because this is His plan for the fallen souls to be able to have whatever they want in this material world, and He sets it up so nicely so that everything's there, and then to be able to get out of the material world. So we've just had, of course we know that Krishna, he comes in his various avatars, and this is a wonderful Leela avatar of Varaha, and Lord Varaha has fulfilled Krishna's promise to annihilate the demons, Hiranyaksha, and to establish the devotees, because Mother Bhumi, of course, everything is dependent on Mother Bhumi, so she had to be reinstated so that people could go on living their regular lives. So he performed all that in a wonderful avatar that one could not imagine, a giant boar that's bigger than the whole, able to pick up Bhumandala on his tusks. So now, Shonaka is questioning Sutta Goswami. So the nice aspect of both the conversation that's going on by Maitreya to Vidura, and here we're having Sutta being questioned by Shonaka Rishi, is that they're trying to churn the nectar. They don't want them to stop speaking. They want to hear and hear and hear. So they ask suitable questions to keep the nectar flowing, and they're able to do that very wonderfully. And now we have that record of that forever. This conversation, the questions, the wonderful questions and the wonderful answers. So this is the art of a devotee, to be able to ask questions from the speaker to invoke more nectar. Of course, we're talking about very qualified speakers here in Sutta Goswami and, of course, Sukadeva Goswami. So it's all, it's quite thrilling the way it's all been captured and laid down for posterity. So Svayambhuva Manu appeared at the very dawn of creation. And now, this Vaivasvata Manu, who's our Manu, he's like in the middle of the Manus. So much time has gone past in the dawn of this creation. And various Manus have performed this service of assisting the living entities. So Sutta is wanting to know, what did Svayambhuva Manu do to ensure that people will get this liberation, that they can live a proper life. And that's what the laws of Manu are. They teach so many things about the moral and proper behavior, but plus they teach you how to get away from it all and go back to the spiritual world. So Manu's job, he has 3 jobs. He has to create scriptural regulations to save the conditioned souls. He has to establish the principles of godly and moral behavior, and he has to show the path of to salvation. And this is all on Krishna's order. So he's a great devotee. This is his devotional service. And these are very highly exalted, the Manus are very highly exalted souls. And they have a mood of service to mankind for mankind's benefit. So Prabhupada explains in this purport that Krishna is so kind because he sets up this system where the Manus can help the conditioned souls. And it's explained there in the purport that the conditioned souls want to come and enjoy separately in this material world. So when you think about it, you could think, oh, there's only a few ways you can enjoy, but actually there's trillions of titillations for the senses. And you can go on, as we do, life after life, becoming attracted to various aspects of the material world. And if you just turn on the radio or the television, you can see all these experts talking about so many different aspects of the material world. It's pretty funny, really. And you can go, and this is our problem as conditioned souls, that we can become attracted to certain aspects of the material world. And without Krishna, we go along these different paths and get caught up so that another birth awaits us. So there's so many types of allurements in the material world. You can never think, oh, I won't be allured, because there's just so much, so many on so many levels to attract people's minds away from the basic principle of God consciousness. So, Krishna is so kind. He knows that the material world is, the conditioned souls are here to enjoy, so he sets up everything so that they can have enjoyment. It's not like he thinks, well, I'll give them a hard time. He gives them everything. All the facility is there. If we just look around, these gorgeous circumstances here that we have surrounding us, beautiful mountains and trees and plants and lush growing, and the seasons allow things to grow beautifully, and there are flowers and trees and sufficient food. So everything's there so that they can enjoy, and so that their unlimited material desires can be fulfilled. But the idea is, Krishna's idea is, that they will turn to him at some point. So desires are so actually completely paramount in everything we do as devotees and everything that's done in the material world. That is a fact. It's all based on desire. I just wanted to read a little bit from Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it really sums up this desire that keeps us here. So Bhagavad Gita confirms that one can attain his next material body according to his desires at the time he leaves his body. That yam yam brahmsmava. The desire of the mind carries the soul in a suitable atmosphere as the wind carries aromas from one place to another. And actually there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that exactly explains this also. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas. So, unfortunately, those who are not yogis but gross materialists, who throughout their lives indulge in sense gratification, are puzzled by the disarrangement of the bodily and mental condition at the time of death. Such gross sensualists, encumbered by the main ideas, desires and associations of the lives they have led, desire something against their interest, and thus foolishly take on new bodies that perpetuate their material miseries. And then Srila Prabhupada says, it is foolish to think that every soul that passes away goes to the same place. Either the soul goes to a place he desires at the time of death, or upon leaving his body he is forced to accept a position according to the acts in his previous life. So then this whole, it's a really long purport in Adi Leela chapter 5, and he's talking about desires, how important they are, and how desires are what are fueling our various bodies, one body to the next. But Krishna is allowing them. He's not stopping. He always grants independence. That's his kindness. He's not going to force us to surrender. But he sets up this world with whatever may be desired and allows the living entities to lord it over to their heart's content. But his desire is our enlightenment. And the reason he wants our enlightenment is because we are his. We belong to him. He's within us. He's without. He's arranging everything. And he wants that love. And Prabhupada explains that Krishna loves us 10 times more than we love him. So he really wants us to come back to him. So he has various methods that he uses to help the living entity to come back to him. First of all, he sets up the Manus and various great sages and saints so that we can make spiritual progress and live a godly moral life. So without those godly morals, we're not going to be able to advance quickly in Krishna consciousness. And that is why the lifestyle that Srila Prabhupada taught us is helping to lift us up to the mode of goodness, because from there it's much easier to concentrate on Krishna and to have a steady mind than if we're kind of rattling around in the lower modes of ignorance and passion. Krishna kindly sends the pure devotees, as we have evidence in our lives. And then he comes himself, as he has just done in Varaha and all these wonderful avatars of Lord Krishna, and he personally comes as Lord Chaitanya and Krishna himself. And the fourth one is he instructs us in our heart. He's there with us, instructing us. Whether we listen or not is another matter. So, unfortunately in Kali Yuga, the Manus and the laws of Manu are disregarded. People are ignorant of them, and the morality is so low that they don't want to take any notice, in general, people. So therefore, he's so kind, he comes as Lord Chaitanya. And in this incarnation, when he comes as Lord Chaitanya, he's actually coming to spread love of God. It's a very wonderful incarnation. In other incarnations, he has various pastimes, which of course he has as Lord Chaitanya, but he's specifically come as Lord Chaitanya to spread love of God, and he did that throughout India, and he inspired others to write books, etc., so that in the disciplic succession later on it would be spread around the planet. And it's said that they used to debate in the around these times when the Goswamis were there. Well, like how is it going to spread? How is it going to spread all over the world? Because that's the prediction. They couldn't quite figure it out because India was sort of, big place, and so sort of cut off from, various other continents of the planet. So, of course, we know how that all happened in a wonderful way. But Lord Chaitanya is very kind. So he taught through his pastimes. There's very many pastimes that you can get wonderful instructions from Lord Chaitanya, and his activities and his devotees. So it's explained in the Madhya Lila that every single one of those devotees can deliver the whole universe. Unbelievable. Every one of those devotees can deliver the whole universe. So they've all come with Krishna. They all came along in their various leelas. When they come with Lord Chaitanya, they have a servitor leela, but when they come with Krishna, of course, they have various leelas. And in the spiritual world, they have various leelas, but they come specifically to serve Lord Chaitanya in this pastime that he has of distributing love of God. So I wanted to read a little quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam regarding Krishna's kindness. And this is a statement that Suniti made to Dhruva. And it's really nice. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.8.22. Krishna is so kind to his devotees that if you go to him, then the combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealings. How sweet. There are many other sort of examples of Krishna's kindness. So Krishna has instructed the Manus through Lord Brahma to provide these facilities for the living entities and to give the living entity the possibility of a good life plus show them the path of liberation. So in the previous ages, everybody knew what salvation was about, and they knew where to go for it. The Vedas were there, and everybody knew the Vedas were there. If you want enlightenment, you study the Vedas, and also saints and sages were there. But unfortunately, this is the age of ignorance, and people don't understand what true spirituality is. So even though someone might think, I want to be spiritual, and probably a lot of people actually think it. Actually, Vaisheshika Prabhu, when he goes out on Sankirtan, he goes up to someone and he says, you look like a spiritual person. And they'll say, yes, I am. And then he can talk to them and he'll present a book, etc. But, that aspect of people is there, a lot of people, that they want some sort of spiritual life. Not everybody's like that. There are many gross materialists, but a lot of people have that desire. But unfortunately, it's like a minefield trying to link up with something that's actually going to assist the soul. What they don't even understand what spiritual life is. Even from the various religions, they understand a bit about what religious life is, whether they follow it or not. But what actually is spiritual life? It's kind of like an unknown to so many people, which is pretty sad. But this is Kali Yuga, so. There's so much impersonalism out there, and there are so-called yoga systems. Now, we know that the word yoga means to link up. So what are they linking up with? If they're linking up with Krishna, then yes, that is yoga. But if they're linking up with, goodness knows what, then you can't say that is actually, a beneficial thing. So it's very tricky. And there's so many talking heads, as I said. Oh my gosh. So actually, Srila Prabhupada said in a lecture I was listening to a little while back, he said, talkativeness is a symptom of Kali Yuga. Because in other ages, people were more succinct. They had something to say and they said it. They didn't sort of, rave on, as people do. So I thought that was an interesting point, that it's a symptom of Kali Yuga to be talkative. So it's kind of like, there's like a vortex to suck people into illusion, even if they may want to be spiritual. So that's why Srila Prabhupada was so emphatic about us going out and having kirtan on the street, like presenting Krishna's names to people, and distributing books. And it was his very method. In Thompson Square Park, he used to go at 2 o'clock and he would sit till 5 o'clock, 3 hours, and he would sing Hare Krishna. He didn't talk about any rules, regulations, didn't even talk philosophy. They just chanted Hare Krishna. So this movement got started on that, because it was that attracted the first few wonderful souls who came and joined Srila Prabhupada. So our movement is, because this is Kali Yuga, and we're so kind of debased. We're debased by so many aspects in Kali Yuga. So this is the wonderful trick of Lord Chaitanya's, that chanting Hare Krishna will actually help people. So we can get some idea of how potent the Mahamantra is. And at one time, Lord Chaitanya was instructing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and he was talking about devotional processes. And Sarvabhauma said, well, what's the most important? He was talking about many items of devotional service. And Sarvabhauma asked him, what's the most important item of devotional service? And without hesitation, Lord Chaitanya said, chanting of the holy names is the most important. So then he explained that verse from the Brihad Naradiya Purana. Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalo, Kalo Nasjeva, 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 Gatiranyata. Can you remember seeing that on the streets? We used to go out and do it in Kirtan. Did they do it in the early 80s? Yeah. It's stopped now, you don't hear it. But we used to actually sing that in the streets. So, and the translation, of course, is chant the holy names, chant the holy names, chant the holy names. In this age of Kali, there's no other means for enlightenment. So that knocks out a lot when you think about it. We're just so blessed that we got this information from a bona fide source. So that's because people are so fallen, and what Srila Prabhupada in the purports there, he explains why chanting Hare Krishna, the Mahamantra, is the only way that people can actually get enlightenment. It's because everybody is steeped in the bodily concept. And that bodily concept is so strong. So the only way that bodily concept can start to become free is that chanting starts to purify the heart. And that's what it's all about. The chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra purifies the heart so that bodily concept can be loosened. And then in that way, we can become eligible to perform devotional service to the Lord. So, and he actually mentions in that purport, in the age of Kali, Hare Kirtan is very, very important. Sometimes Prabhupada does that. He'll do that double, very, very important. So, well, we know it's vital. So, and he also explains that the advancement that one can gain in previous ages by meditation, by deity worship, by austerities, it can all be gained through the Mahamantra in this age. So we've been blessed because we got the easy way out. We don't have to sit on slabs of ice or perform austerities for 60,000 years or perform very, very opulent deity worship. Of course, Srila Prabhupada installed the deities in all the temples, and we have a nice standard of deity worship. But this Mahamantra is, for this age, it's the way to achieve Krishna's blessings. And that's a quote from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, I wanted to read a couple of verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam that explain about this holy name, the importance of the holy name. Okay, so this is in the 6th canto, and Sukadeva Goswami is speaking. My dear king, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is able to uproot even the reactions of the greatest sins. Therefore, the chanting of the Sankirtan movement is the most auspicious activity in the entire universe. So that's Sukadeva Goswami telling us. The most auspicious activity in the entire universe. Please try to understand this so that others will take it seriously. So as we have that instruction from Sukadev, and then we have also in the 6th canto, chapter 2, verse 14, one who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly. That Prabhupada says to indicate something else, or jokingly, or for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scripture. So sometimes people on the streets, they try to imitate, they might even be drunk, and they're like, Hare Krishna, but they don't realize, oh my gosh, they're chanting the holy names, they're getting benefit. And then the next one is 6-18. As a fire burns dry grass to ashes, so the holy name of the Lord, whether chanted knowingly or unknowingly, burns to ashes without fail all the reactions of one's sinful activities. And then there's another one in Canto 2, 1:11. O King, constant chanting of the name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So they're all very encouraging verses on how potent this Maha Mantra is and how important it is. So we've had such a blessing in our lives that the Maha Mantra is kind of like, it's our friend. We take up our beads every morning, and Prabhupada did say one time 90% of our advancement is in the bead bag. So the Maha Mantra is so vital in our spiritual lives. So I was thinking that sometimes, it might seem like, we're struggling along and everything's tough. But actually, we shouldn't ever feel alone, because we have our spiritual master, and we have his spiritual master. We have the whole disciplic succession. They're all behind us. They're all wanting us to succeed. Just like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, that time when he had that time of, it was like a pastime of feeling depressed after Gaurkishore Das Babaji left and his father left. And then he had that wonderful dream, and Lord Chaitanya came, and the Panchatattva came, and the Goswamis came, and his guru, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they were all there, and they said, what are you doing? We're with you. We're with you at every step of the way. Whatever you want, money, men, whatever you want, it'll come and manifest immediately. And please, just go out there. Don't feel discouraged. Go out there and preach. And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was so happy after he had that. And Srila Prabhupada also, there's various times when the Goswamis appeared to him to encourage him. So we shouldn't feel like, we're all alone, because we have the backing of these saints through the disciplic succession, and they're all wanting that, the generations that come succeed in spiritual life. So we are actually never alone. And Srila Prabhupada said that even in that first year when he was superficially, you could say, alone, he said, I never felt alone. I always felt my spiritual master was with me at all times. So, so we can feel encouraged. And we also have not only those saintly persons wanting us to succeed, but we have the Lord within our heart wanting us to love him, because that's our constitutional position, to love Krishna. He's there encouraging in so many ways, encouraging us within, encouraging us without through our relationships with other devotees. Every time we read, take up Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's there, Srila Prabhupada's there. So we can feel very encouraged that we have this fortunate life, and we have many divine and saintly souls who are behind us. So, and also the other thing is to be prayerful we can pray to the previous acharyas. Of course, the prayers to the Guru are always there, and through him, prayers to the other acharyas, to Lord Nityananda, to Lord Chaitanya, to Radha and Krishna. So they hear our prayers and they reciprocate, and they may not reciprocate in a way you expect. Sometimes you pray something for something and something comes left field and you're like, how come that happened? I wanted that. But then you see later, oh, I understand. I needed to learn that lesson. So, yeah, we can keep faith in this whole process that we have, the chanting, the praying, and the association of devotees, studying these books. They're all our aids. They're all assisting us in our path of traversing back to Godhead as fast as we possibly can. And that also happens through our desire. The stronger our desire is, then the more Krishna manifests in our life. So that's kind of, it's if we can fuel that desire by lots of reading and talking about Krishna with other devotees, they're the things that fuel that desire to become. You become more eager when you share with other devotees, and you read together, and you feel inspiration. Okay, thank you very much. Please forgive me if I made any offences or made mistakes. Would anybody like to make some comments or questions? Oh, and I can just say while I'm waiting that recently Krishna Rupa and Rasarani and we went off for a couple of weeks and we had a holiday. But it was so nice because we got to do lots of reading, sharing Bhagavatam together, nectar of devotion, Damodar prayers. It was so sweet. It's just so kind of like nurturing when we do those things. Sorry.
Thank you for class. I have a question. You were talking earlier about the unlimited desires we have in the material world. And we know our desires are sort of unique in that what attracts me, what I'm attached to, is different to what you're attached to or what someone else is attached to. So, and I understand that comes from activities we've done in past bodies, but I was wondering, the fact that our desires are sort of all unique and that I'm attracted to that and someone else could care less about that. Is it like a perverted reflection of the sort of unique quality of each individual soul, that's being pervertedly manifest or something?
Yeah, well, sometimes we find that we can sort of transform those desires into some service, and in that way, purify them. Others are just nonsense, and we have to supersede them through our, learning. We've got the whole process of sadhana, because some of them obviously are not suitable. But, Prabhupada was all for using what we have in the service of Krishna, just like you used your art in the service of Srila Prabhupada. That's what he wanted, and he certainly did that, But in the beginning, everybody had to do everything, but, as it went on, and Srila Prabhupada would see in someone something they could use for Krishna, and then he would fan that for them.
My question was sort of though, like, I've tried to use art, let's say, and someone else is expert at management, and someone else is expert at music. So does the fact that those individual qualities or desire, do they go back originally to something to do with, the unique relationship with the soul with Krishna, or
I wouldn't know. I don't know how that all works. I mean, I do understand we all have an original relationship with Krishna like nobody else. And it is very interesting, as you say, that everybody's tastes, what they perceive, everything's different, and their desires. It's pretty incredible, really, when you think about it. When you think of a bunch of sheep, you think, oh, they're all the same. And then they get to the human platform and there's all this diversity that sort of manifests. But I don't know how much of that's sort of intrinsic to the soul, the personality of the soul, because everyone has a personality, or whether I do know a lot of it has to be cast off and purified, and then, like, as we do become enlightened, hopefully all those things will manifest, like what aspects of our personality Krishna's, wants us to expand on, and which ones we need to let go. Krishna.
Thank you for your talk. So I'm still trying to understand the potency of the holy name, and we say, and scriptures say, that it's all purification when we chant. Is it true though that if there's no heart in it, it loses its potency? It's just the material sound?
There's always potency there. There's always potency, and you can connect any second to the holy name. It's not like if we're chanting and we're mindless, and we're all guilty of that. Still, the words there's some effect, but at any time you can link up. See, that's what yoga means. At any second you can link up with that holy name, and then the potency increases. Then like when we're actually pure and we're chanting, Prabhupada says we have Krishna dancing on our tongue. So I mean, that's a very advanced stage. But the more we, the idea is that, like, we're so often not mindful, and mindfulness is so important in spiritual life. So as we become more mindful, then Krishna becomes more present, and there's more perception of Krishna in the holy name. So there's no loss. There's no loss. Even if someone jokes, it doesn't matter. They've still started chanting the holy name. They'll get benefit. But at some point, they have to bring that as a connection, as a means of connection to the Lord, and then it becomes more potent.
Do you think there are cases where someone has been chanting for like 40 years, but in a mundane, not in a mindful way? They're still getting purified, but
there's some purification there, but there are offences, of course, that we say in the morning, and we do commit offences. So if someone's not making that effort to kind of be careful about those offences, then we've seen devotees leave, after many years. Sometimes they just leave, and which is always kind of sad, especially if they've taken up devotional service and done so much, and then they go. But there's no loss, because next life they'll take that up. But it is important to be mindful of those offences for our own benefit.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.